It's me or you. That's what the Redditors in this story is. Sorry, that's what the Redditors in this live stream are having going on. They are put in the situation where they have to give their loved ones an ultimatum. So today we are going to be determining whether these people are the a-hole for giving their partner, their friend, their sisters ultimatums and whether they are being unreasonable. So we're going to jump right into the first story. Not a lot of chit chat. Remember, if you are live, make sure you are dropping in the chat box what you think on the live stream. We'll also have polls going so that you can vote whether you think that they're the a-hole. And if you're watching on the replay, make sure you're dropping your comments down below. So let's go ahead and have Bossy B bring us right into it. And so we're starting off strong with something short and sweet. So let's figure out if this Redditor is the a-hole. And the story is, am I the a-hole for giving my boyfriend an ultimatum after finding him cuddling with his homeless best friends? Now, those girl and boy best friends, those are the ones you have to watch out for. And that's what this Redditor is thinking is going on in her situation. So, am I the a-hole for giving my boyfriend an ultimatum after finding him cuddling with his homeless best friend? I, 24 female, never thought I'd be that girl, but here we are. My boyfriend, 26 male, and I have been together for 3 years. Wait, let me fix this. Technical difficulties, y'all. Okay, let's try that again. I, 24 female, never thought I'd be that girl, but here we are. My boyfriend, 26 male, and I have been together for 3 years, living together for 1. Everything was fine until a month ago when his childhood best friend, 25 female, got dumped and needed a place to stay. I said okay for a few days, but it's been 4 weeks and she's showing zero signs of leaving. She's always been weirdly clingy to him, inside jokes, touching his arm, the works. I've tried to be cool about it, but I'm at my breaking point. Yesterday, I came home early from work, migraine, to find them cuddled up on our couch watching his favorite show. They weren't kissing or anything, but her head was on his shoulder and he was playing with her hair. I lost it. I told her she had 24 hours to get the F out of my apartment. My boyfriend freaked, saying I was being dramatic and that this is how they've always been. And it sounds like he needs to date her then. Okay? If that's how you've always been, be that somewhere else, not in my apartment, okay? And that I should know nothing happened. Or that I should know nothing is happening. Why do you automatically jump there? That you even saying that nothing is happening makes me think that something is happening. I said I didn't care if nothing was happening. The boundary crossing was enough. I gave him an ultimatum. Either she goes or I go. But it's your apartment. It's your apartment. Make her go. Make them go together. He actually had the nerve to call me toxic and controlling. His parents called saying I was heartless for throwing a girl out onto the streets during her emotional crisis. Then y'all take her in. Y'all take her in then. My own mom thinks I overreacted and should have had a calm conversation first. But am I crazy for not wanting another woman cuddled up with my boyfriend in my home? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. So, am I the a-hole for kicking my boyfriend's friend out and giving him an ultimatum? So y'all gotta let me know in the chat whether you think that this OP is the a-hole for giving her boyfriend an ultimatum to get his homeless best friend, the homeless best friend, out of the house. Because while she's at work making some money, they're on the couch cuddling. That is a problem for me. I don't know about y'all, but y'all let me know what you think. We got a chat up in the, not a chat, we got a poll up in the chat if you're watching on the live or on the live stream. So make sure you are casting your votes as we speak. So let me go ahead and jump into the Reddit comments and see what they have to say. And what is crazy? I'm glad I started copying the stories like y'all told me to, because it's gone. It's gone. It was posted a day ago. And so usually when they don't have that much time up on Reddit, I run the risk of them disappearing. So I'm happy that I actually copied the text so that we can read it. And the comments are still up. So we're going to go ahead and go through the comments and see what the Reddit commenters thought. We got a top 1% commenter saying, thank his parents for offering to take her in and direct her to them. Tell your mother she is insane and will be put in the naughty corner if she doesn't zip it. And please tell me he is an ex. Yes, exactly. I'm like, they said, oh, she's in a time of need. Then y'all take her in. Why is she at my house? Y'all love her so much, y'all take her in. Someone else says, I find it really strange how involved parents are in these stories. It's always a mom calling and giving OP just kind of the run around the mess. They put the S word, right? Like, is this normal for Gen Z? My mother would never get involved in this type of stuff and would certainly never call her significant other. What the hell? Someone else says, I'm a millennial and I've had an ex-mom call me and freak out on me for breaking up with him. This was like 2012, 2013. That is ridiculous. Like, these people need to get a life. Someone else says, my 31 male parents wouldn't be involved, but my partner's 28 female absolutely would. Different types of family dynamics. I'm constantly trying to keep my parents out of my/our business, or keep her parents out of my/our business. Now, is it like that bad to tell your family what's going on and then they give you advice? I can understand like you telling your family and then they give you advice, but like if I tell my family, I wouldn't expect them to go and tell my husband to give him advice, okay? Unless he's asking for it from them as well. I think that is a little bit overbearing. So y'all gotta let me know whether y'all think that this OP is the a-hole. We do have a poll up in the chat, so make sure you guys are voting in that, and I'm going to see what the people have to say. We got Autumn, the ADHD RD. Hello, saying, oh, have you seen the Ultimatum reality TV show? It's messy. Yes, I watch every single season. I do watch every single season. Welcome in. Doodles Noise, member of the channel, welcome in, saying Bossy B is the best. Thank you very much. She doesn't get that much play lately because we've been trying to just kind of do these Reddit stories while I figure out my career path. Well, not figure out my career path, get my schedule together with my new job. Member of the jury says, I'm here. What we doing? We are doing some Reddit stories. Welcome back. We got Autumn, the ADHD RD, says homeless friend wants OP to move out. Yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like homeless friend moved in and that's her place. I don't know if OP is welcome there anymore at this point. Autumn says they both need to go. That's what I'm saying. You got to get out of there. You got to get out of there. And Kimmy impersonating me says to Autumn, I saw the first season. It was so awful. I loved it. Yes, exactly. It's such a train wreck. You can't help but to continue watching it, right? Kimmy Locker, member, moderator, consultant, and paralegal of the channel, saying, am I the a-hole for accidentally impersonating Bree in the chat? No, we know it's you. We know it's you. I don't. You're my ghostwriter. Kimmy is my ghostwriter here, okay? So it's not a big deal. Says the ADHD RD says, LOL, Kimmy, I was wondering, yeah, how am I typing and also struggling and tripping over words, right? You know, it's already hard enough for me to read on live stream. For me to try to type and be seeing stuff, that would be absolutely out of control. I wouldn't be able to do it. And you guys know what I've been thinking about lately. How in high school and elementary school and all the school, and we would do like popcorn reading. I would be terrified for somebody to pick on me to do the next reading. I'll be like trying to prepare and read ahead so that I don't mess up on the words. And now I am here as an adult reading on live stream and constantly tripping over my words. So it's a full circle moment here. Okay. I just remember being terrified to be the next popcorn. And now I am here leaving this on the internet for my kids to find one day of me not knowing how to read. It's absolutely ridiculous. Phoenix always says everybody sucks here. Yelling and kicking them out is harsh, but boyfriend and friend are also majorly in the wrong. Welcome back to Phoenix Swallow. You think so? I don't know. I'm a little feisty. I'm on girlfriend OP's side. I think the best friend is the problem. And she said she was only staying for a few days. You're gonna have to get out. Like, we cannot do this. How old did they say they were? These people are 24 and 26. Yeah, it's a dangerous place. And the best friend is 25. I don't know. I'm just not fond of cuddling with your friends. Like, it'll be different if you just had a platonic relationship. But to me, platonic does not include cuddling. Doodle Noise says best friend can join, or boyfriend can join his friend in homelessness, or they can all just move in. Both of them could just move in with his parents, since they seem to think that she is in a time of need and their son needs to be cuddled up with this woman and playing in her hair. I think that adds another layer to it, right? Kimmy says to Autumn, parentheses Kimmy, saw the first season. It was awful. Not Brie. Loved it. Thank you very much. fixing the impersonating, right? We got Autumn saying their values are not in alignment. Yeah, they have a different idea of what a friend is and what being there for someone is, right? Autumn says, LOL to Kimmy, it was such a train wreck, I couldn't look away. It has to keep going. Have you guys watched the Ultimatum where the people were the same sex? I think they were all ladies, if I'm not mistaken. That one was messy. Like, have you seen that one? I think it was like, what was that one called? I forget what it was called, but it was an ultimatum where the couples were same sex. That one was very messy, and I do think they were all women. Amy Locker says everyone is the a-hole. They're a-holes for crossing boundaries, and she's an a-hole to herself if she stays in that relationship. I'm right there with you, Kimmy. Kimmy says, on the plus side, I got the poll love. Yes, thank you very much. Definitely appreciate it. Autumn says, I was like, your hands are up there. Yeah, when I talk. Yeah. If only I knew how to work technology where I could have a fake me commenting in the chat. That would be cool. Kimmy says, if it makes you feel any better, your kids will be embarrassed by you no matter what you do. Thank you. I don't think that made me feel any better, but thank you. Autumn says, if they cuddled up all the time when she was with them, it would be different. Yeah, they wouldn't act like that if she was there, is what I'm assuming by her reaction, right? So I guess that could make it different if that was just their relationship and they did it in front of everybody and whoever was there, whether she was there or whether his mom was there and grandma was there. That would be a different story, right? And Kimmy says the best friend's an a-hole for taking advantage, but I wouldn't say she's the problem because she's not in the relationship with OP. Exactly. I always blame the person in the relationship because you should know your boundaries and you should know what's appropriate for your particular relationship. I don't know any relationships where that would be appropriate, but maybe some people do know people that are okay with their significant other cuddling up with their friends in that way. Autumn says, I didn't finish that season. That one was messy. You have to watch that one. You have to watch it. You go back and watch it. Go back and watch it and let me know what you think. Let's go ahead and just check out the poll. I almost skipped the poll, okay? Every time I say the poll on the live stream, I think of a stripper pole, and I don't know why. I feel like I'm saying something inappropriate, but we're not. This is just Reddit reads. Why am I thinking about stripper poles? I don't know. Okay, we got in the poll, am I the a-hole for giving my boyfriend an ultimatum for cuddling with his homeless best friend, female best friend? I love how she called her homeless. We have 0% saying yes, OP is the a-hole, 57% saying no, someone else is the a-hole, 0% saying no, no one is the a-hole, and yes, 43% saying yes, everyone is the a-hole. So it looks like we are between just the boyfriend or the girl best friend or some other people, the parents. Remember, the parents are all into this as well, that they're the a-hole, or it's just that everybody sucks here. I don't blame girlfriend. I really don't blame girlfriend, but I see there are opinions on both sides of the rainbow. I don't know where I came up with that. What is that even a saying? I don't know. Kimmy says, right to Autumn. If that's how they've always been, then catching them when she's supposed to be at work wouldn't have been the first time. Exactly. And I don't think that's just how they behave. That seems like it was kind of a new thing going on here. So anyways, thank y'all for voting on that. Let's go ahead and jump into the next story so we can figure out whether this Redditor is the a-hole for giving her husband an ultimatum. So let's jump right in. Let me bookmark that. Let's end the poll and jump right into the next Reddit story. So, am I the a-hole for giving my husband an ultimatum? My 44 male my husband, 44 male, and I, 38 female, have been married for almost 5 years. We've lived with his father, brother, and 2 kids. He works full time while I stay home with the kids. His brother also stays home, but does work from home while taking care of his father, who is very ill. My husband pays for all the expenses in the house, including I pay for things that I pay for when I go to the grocery store. I don't know what that sentence means, but let's keep going. His brother doesn't pay for anything towards the house, and his dad's pension is used towards his expenses like home health aid and things like that. The brother doesn't do anything that's beyond taking care of his dad, even though he's HHA. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what that means. But so let me know if y'all know what that means in the comments. Helping 6 days of the week, and I do all the meal prep for his dad. My husband plays this game on his phone and iPad that's constantly running. I'm talking 14 hours a day. Wait a minute. I thought you said he works and then he comes home and plays on the phone for 14 hours? That doesn't seem like, I guess if you only go to work for 8 hours, when does he sleep? He plays with the kids and stuff like that. But for the most part, I do everything that's essential for the kids. I was traveling one time and I got really sick and couldn't do anything. So I asked him if he can give the kids a bath. And he said he was in the middle of a battle. How old did she say? She said this man is 44 in the middle of a battle. Okay, he's in the middle of the battle while she's sick. And he had to finish that, so I ended up giving the bath. Yesterday, I wanted to eat something special that will take me 2 hours to prep, and while I was making it, he was watching the kids and doing his game at the same time. He fed the kids late, and he missed my daughter's nap and her snack, so all of this turned into a bad day altogether. Man-child, we have a man-child alert. We need to get a man-child alert on this channel if we're going to keep doing Reddit stories. So I told him that he has until August 15th to play the game. And if he doesn't stop then, I will walk out with the kids. His response, y'all? His response was that I could leave now and not to wait until August. I don't know exactly when this thing was posted. But she said, you got to get off of that game or I am going to leave with your kids in August. He said, don't wait. Go right now. You're getting on my nerves. You're in my way. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So he said, don't wait until August, right? He goes to sleep at 3 in the morning on the days he has to work and complains about being tired all day. The house is a big mess in the basement and in our spare room where he has stuff that we no longer use, like his mom's stuff and his dad's stuff, but won't put them away or clean up because he's too busy or doesn't have time. You got time. You just choosing not to have time. 14 hours on a game? How do your eyes not hurt? Okay. I believe that if he stops playing this game or at least time it in a way, he will have more time and energy. Obviously, 14 hours a day. Yeah, if he puts it down for 2 hours, he just gained 2 hours back in his day. Oh my gosh. This girl is like, I don't know why she's acting like he can't put the game down. She's like on his side, I feel like. But he thinks this is the only way he can be relaxed. I wake up 3 times a night between the 2 kids and I can't get proper rest because he wants to play this game till 2 in the morning. I feel used because I'm not told anything that happens in the family, but I'm told about how we run out of food and I need to cook or I need to go to the store because we are out of creamers for his brother's coffee, etc. I feel like a glorified maid. You are a glorified maid that has no say in the situation regarding the lives of our children and such. The reason why I'm a stay at home is because when I moved into the house, the brother asked if he could go to work full time and find a house or an apartment to move into so we can have the house to ourselves and blah, blah. I agreed thinking it was going to be a short term. And once we found a home health aide, yep, Kimmy was right with the home health aide, I will be able to go back to work. Then I got pregnant with the first child and COVID came and the second child. Now nobody wants me because I've been out of the industry for so long that I have to start making less than than I want. I don't know what this says. I would have to start making less than what I would pay for the 2 kids to go to daycare. I think I'm the a-hole because I didn't give him any warning before the ultimatum. I just blurted it out that day and he had to ask what I was talking about. So am I the a-hole? That was tough to get through, y'all. I'm sorry about that. Y'all know I can't read. I just talked about how I suck at reading and then I couldn't get through it. So is this lady the a-hole for giving her husband an ultimatum to stop playing that goddamn game or she's gonna leave? Now, I have thoughts. So y'all let me know what y'all thoughts are in the chat. And if you're watching on the replay, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. And let's go ahead and check out, there's an edit. I haven't read the edit, so let's see what it is. So let's go on. Edit 1. Thank you all for your suggestions and input. I have been in the process of looking for a job and childcare is the biggest hurdle. I did get my master's in the last 2 years, but something always hindered finding a job. I'm okay starting at the bottom and finding what will be an entry-level job. I don't want any money from him because his family... I don't want any money from him because his family thinks, and I'm just a lazy, or his family thinks this girl cannot type. Oh my gosh. I was like, what? His family thinks I'm a lazy bum who is sitting at home spending his money. I do side hustles where I make about 500 plus I do side hustles where I make about $500 plus or so just by doing things that I can work up around the children's schedule. I'm not lazy, never been lazy, but no luck perhaps. So if I leave and ask him for alimony or child support, I know I said I can't read, but she can't write, okay? It will just support the family's thought process that I'm after his money. I have family, but they are in another state. And at this time, I can't move there because the people that would help me the most is out of the country on a much needed vacation and getaway. And that's why I gave the date of August 15th. I have decided that I will focus on application and follow-ups, maybe even watching out for some staffing agencies or something just to get my foot in the door. Thank you all for the comments and suggestions. So do we think this lady is the a-hole for giving her husband an ultimatum and she thinks she's the a-hole because she didn't give him a warning? Ma'am, I have thoughts. Let me go ahead and check out what the comments say on Reddit, and then I'll give my thoughts, and then we'll jump into the Beehive comment section. So make sure y'all are letting me know what y'all think. He told you, first comment says, he told you that you could leave right then and he wouldn't give a F. He has made it quite clear he is happy having a bang maid. Oh gosh, I've never heard of one of those. And doesn't need to change. You should look at an exit plan and work on bettering yourself, especially your self-esteem. You're most likely feeling that you can't make it on your own, but aren't you already doing that? Imagine how much time and less stress you would have not taking care of 3 grown men. You can get public assistance and child support to get you started and still be in a better spot than you are right now. Have you talked to your family? They go on to say most women are stronger than they give themselves credit for. You just have to take the scariest step, which is step 1. Someone else said, when he said you could leave right then, that was your cue to get the F out. He called your bluff. Don't make threats you won't back up and actually leave this sack of poo immediately. Absolutely agree. That was spot on. Someone says, I wasn't a doormat, or that was, let me see. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to find another. Because she feels she needed, and so she stays, could be afraid of doing things herself. She's realizing she's all doing them without his help. This one was hard to read, but I agree with the comments on Reddit. I think she thinks that she cannot do it on her own, that she needs him in order to survive because he is the one making the money. When she said that she would go to the grocery store and get the groceries, I thought she was paying for that with her own money, but it sounds like he's giving her an allowance or something, or giving her the money, and then she's going to do the grocery shopping, coming home to do the cooking, the cleaning, the taking care of the kids, all of the things. That commentator that said you're taking care of 3 grown men, that is literally what she is doing. She has got to get out of there. So y'all let me know. We got the poll up asking if OP is the a-hole for giving her husband an ultimatum and not giving him a warning before. Like, he sucks. I don't even know what else to say about this, but he sucks. Kimmy is letting us know that HHA means home health aid. That's what it meant. So thank you, Kimmy, for that. I said I didn't know what it meant. So there we have that clarification. Member of the jury says he's playing the game on work time as a home health aid. No, I thought the brother was the home health aide and then the husband worked. I could have understood that wrong. John doesn't like his. Kimmy says to member of the jury, no, she's complaining about the brother-in-law who also lives with them and doesn't do anything to take care of her father-in-law, though he's the home health aide, also comes 6 days a week. Okay, thank you for clearing that up, Kimmy. It was a little confusing. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It was a little confusing the way that she had things written. So glad that we were able to make it through. Autumn says, how long have they been living this way? The entire 5 years. It sounds like it. She says they were gonna like save up money so that they can get their own place, but then she started having kids and then COVID and all the things. So it had to be the last 5 years. She says we've been married for 5 years and they didn't really say when they actually moved in with the dad. Kimmy says to a member of the jury, I mean, she's also complaining about her husband, but her husband isn't the home health aide. Yes. Kind of the information on the brother-in-law wasn't that important. The way she wrote this was a little bit confusing, but yes, Kimmy is clearing that up. Phoenix Waller says, LOL, I'm 44 and love my games, but I also know how to put it down. She's nothing more than a maid chef caretaker to all those man babies. Exactly. That's what I'm like, he said, what did he say? 14 hours of playing games is ridiculous. A day. We're not talking about just 14 hours in the week. We're talking about 14 hours a day. You go to your 8-hour shift, you come home and you get on the game, you sleep 3 hours and you do it all over again. And then you complain about being tired. And then you say you don't have no time. Yes, you do have time. Put the goddamn iPad down, okay? A says, never get pregnant in an unstable situation. Yes. And they're like, oh, we unexpectedly got pregnant. I know people want to say that there's accidents. I don't think that there's accidents. There are very, very few. Let me give you that. Very, very few accidental pregnancies. Most people, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, most people who say, oh, we got pregnant accidentally, they wasn't doing nothing to prevent it. They know how babies are made and they were just doing the things to make babies and doing nothing to prevent it. And they just thought, oh, can't be me. And then boom, there's a baby. Like, the timing may not be perfect, but you also was not trying to stop it. That's my opinion. That's how I view it. Kimmy Locker says, I think everyone is the a-hole. Again, the man-child an a-hole for being a man-child, and he's wild for saying she can go now. That was wild. That was out of control. But she's an a-hole for not communicating sooner and nipping that crap in the butt. Yeah, you letting that go on for 5 years and kids. You're sick and he can't put down his phone to give his kids a bath. That's ridiculous. Autumn says, I understand how she's feeling, but it needed to be a conversation throughout. Yeah, I think she should have said something before, but also, like, get off that goddamn game. You have to notice that that's a problem. It says that's your kid's money though, so ask for money. She can, and the child support is the kid's money. And to be embarrassed that his family is going to say you're a bum, so are they. Like, why are we even talking about this? He needs to take care of his kids. So call me a bum all you want to. Give me my child support. Thank you, and goodbye. Kimmy Luckett says, who cares what his family thinks? That's a silly reason to stay, in my opinion. Agreed. Like, what? They're going to be saying you a bum, and guess what? You're not going to hear them because you're not going to live with them anymore, right? A says she's not an a-hole, but she needs to learn how to stop letting him and his family manipulate her, stepping all over her, walking all over her, right? Member of the jury says she isn't going to change him. She needs to get out. Definitely agree. A says, well, the brother is important because all of them are using her labor. Yeah, she's taking care of three men. He went out and got a wife for them, okay? She is not just his wife at this point. Autumn says, I was told I couldn't get pregnant and then was pregnant a month later. LOL, also during COVID. Now that would be accidental, but also you weren't doing things to stop it. So hey, it happens. They teach us in health class, the first health class you take, the only way to prevent babies is abstinence. So yeah. Not saying you did anything wrong, but no, I definitely understand the doctor telling you you can't and then you do. And like, I understand like sometimes contraceptive breaks or it fails, but it's just very, very rare. But yeah, that sucks. And I feel like doctors tell a lot of people that they can't have kids and then they end up having kids. So yeah, that sucks. And then Autumn says, well, that's true. LOL. We had tried for 3 years. It was like, hey, we're in the clear. We're in the clear now. And here we are. And then Duda Noise says drugstores were closed in COVID. Were they? I think they were open to an extent. I was at the store. You just have to wait in those lines outside. That was a crazy time, y'all. I forgot about that. That was a crazy time. Everybody wearing masks, people complaining that they don't want to wear their mask. Standing outside, you got to stand 3 feet away. Oh, they gave up on that. I wish that would have stayed in place. Keep 3 feet away from me. I wish that would have stayed in place, man. Dang. I don't want COVID to come back, but I want social distancing to come back. Yes. Oh, man. Doodle Noise says breed abstinence. Exactly. Abstinence is the only way to prevent pregnancy. It's the only way. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Okay. Or celibacy. Cause abstinence is if you just never had, the things in your whole life. But yeah, exactly. Don't do it. Abstain away from it. Keep it away. Okay. Autumn says, I'm sure condoms were somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, is that why you were saying the drugstores were closed during COVID? No. Is that why you were saying that? I was like, no, they were open. Walmart was for sure open, okay? You could get some contraceptives. Doodle Noise says, I was such a better person when I didn't have to be by other people. Exactly. Now, I was in line for something the other day, and like, this man was literally on my neck, I felt like. I'm like, dude, you do not have to stand this close. We are in line. It is moving. There's so much space. Back up. But it was like a holder, so I didn't want to say, hey, bro, back up. You're too close. Kimmy Locker says, I still implement social distancing. Strangers will really just breathe in your face if you let them. Exactly. But now I feel like since social distancing is pretty much gone, it's kind of rude to tell people to back up. But I might have to start saying it. I don't be wanting to start fights in public, but people are too close. And I've just always been like that. So when social distancing happened, I was like, oh, this is perfect for me. But now it's like people are like, let's be close. Let's spread germs again. Let's spread the germs again. Autumn agreeing with Doodle Noise. Autumn saying, I missed the tape showing where to stand. Yes, absolutely. Then we need that back. Absolutely. The little dots you stand on. The dots, the tape, everything. We need that. Bring back social distancing, okay? We're off topic at this point. Kimmy says, nah, I told Grandpa to back up. I should have. I really should have. I felt like he was breathing on my neck, and I was just like, dude. And then it was a line, so you would step forward, and he would step forward. Like, I'm like, dude, there's so much space. There was horizontal space and vertical space. Like, just back up. Back up, bro. Kimmy Locker says, it's rude to get your cooties on me. Yes, absolutely. Everyone's like, let's spread the germs again. Let's bring it back. No, let's not bring that back, okay? Let's not bring it back. Autumn says, I was standing in line for food once, and this person was so close to me, he stepped on my foot that was in front of me. Like, I just pictured that in my head, and I'm like, what the heck? But it happened. It literally happens. And I know you were just like, bro, back up. Y'all, we're getting off topic. Let's get into the poll. Bring back social distancing. We should make that a movement. Am I the a-hole for giving my husband an ultimatum? 0% said yes, OP is the a-hole. 75% says no, someone else is the a-hole, which I would say all the men in that house. Maybe not Grandpa. He just seems to be trying to get some help, and she's the only one helping him. 0% says no, nobody is the a-hole. And 25% says yes, everyone is the a-hole here, which is pretty similar to the vote that we had for the first story, is that, it was in between yes, everyone's the a-hole, or no, someone else is the a-hole. No, yes, the AOP is a-hole, or no, nobody's the a-hole. So let's go ahead and jump into the next story in the poll. That was a good one, y'all. That was a really, really good one. Let's jump in. We got, am I the a-hole for giving my best friend an ultimatum regarding her relationship with my ex? What is going on with people? Like, why can't people leave other people's boyfriends alone? Like, I just don't get a husband's boyfriends, whatever it is. So, am I the a-hole for giving my best friend an ultimatum Am I the a-hole for giving my best friend an ultimatum regarding her relationship with my ex? About a year ago, I, 23 female, cheated on my ex, 24 male, of 6 months. 6-month relationship, 2023. Is it a relationship? Maybe. Let's go on. We had been together for 6 months and I was drunk at a party and it just happened. Okay. I truly regret it more than anything, and I wish I could take it back. He broke up with me immediately, but I told him that I would always be here for him. I occasionally texted him to ask how he was doing, but he never opened or replied to my text. As he should not. Like, girl, what are you doing? I heard from some mutual friends that he has basically ghosted everyone for months and put his energy into building his career and the gym and was now in a much better space, both physically and mentally. So leave him alone. I reached out to him again and got no reply. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. You already broke this man's heart. And I will have to say, like, with being young, I do think people should focus on developing themselves versus developing a relationship. Like, yes, some relationships can work out, but being that young, you don't really know who you're going to be. So let your little 6-month relationship go. Leave that man alone. Let him go find his true wife. Okay. 4 months ago, my best friend, 23 female, one of my housemates told me that she bumped into my ex at a nearby coffee shop and that they had made plans to hang out. Strange. She basically has no relationship experience, and I thought, whatever, my ex will get his revenge. They'll have a short friends with benefit type relationship. She'll get some romantic experience. So I told her that I supported her and to have fun. And like she's acting like she's giving this man away to her. This man is not even talking to you. Like, what are you talking about? Instead, she fell in love with him. After 5 or 6 dates, she confessed her feelings to him and he asked her to be his girlfriend. Oh, wow. They're both in love, not just her in love with him. She told me that he is a very loving and respectful and doesn't pressure her into doing anything she's not ready for and just overall makes her feel happy. Like, oh, snaps for them. I see right through my ex's actions. Girl, what? You're the one that messed up. I see right through my ex's actions. He's making her fall in love with him, and then he'll cheat on her to fulfill whatever revenge fantasy he has in his mind. He is not thinking about you. He's not. Okay? I told my best friend this, and she just said that I was jealous that I lost him and can't stand him being with anyone else. She's partially right, but I just want to save her from being hurt. She's a shy, introverted, inexperienced girl who knows next to nothing about relationships and refuses to listen to me. You're the one that cheated on this good man, and you're telling her that she doesn't know anything about relationships? Yeah. I don't think so, ma'am. Her and I have gotten into several arguments about her relationship with my ex, and yesterday I gave her an ultimatum that either she ends the relationship or she moves out of the apartment. My family owns the apartment and she pays rent to me. Our other 2 housemates are staying neutral and not taking sides, but my best friend called me a bunch of names and said that I was being ridiculous, and rather than being happy for her, I was adamant on poisoning her happiness. All I want is for her not to get hurt and taken advantage of. Am I the a-hole for giving my best friend an ultimatum? Well, you shouldn't have offered your boyfriend up to your best friend if you knew you were going to be jealous, or your ex-boyfriend up to your best friend if you knew you were going to be jealous. And to think that he is just so spiteful and he hates you so much and he thinks about you on a daily basis that he is going to get in a committed relationship with your friend who seems to be a sweet girl just to get revenge on you, I think it sounds a little bit self-centered. Okay. So make sure y'all are voting in the chat if you're watching live. And if you're on the replay, make sure you're dropping your comments. And if you're live, make sure you are dropping your chats. And if y'all haven't already, I haven't said it yet. So hit the like button if you are still watching. So let's see what the Reddit comments had to say. First comment, you're the a-hole. So you cheated and now you think he will take revenge through her? How entitled are you? Only because you are scum, I think they meant scum, doesn't mean he is. You are truly horrible. Like, why do you think he's thinking about you that much? I don't get that part. Short answer, please get professional help. Yes, absolutely yes. The answer you need, please get professional help. Without professional help, you will never realize that not everything is about you. You will never get that you are not the center of the universe. Without professional help, you will never understand the egocentric and unhealthy, how egocentric and unhealthy your worldview is. The answer you deserve, please go get professional help. It's over. They said, repeat after me. It is over. Your ex is over you. I wonder whether he still recalls your name. You don't mean anything to him anymore. Please stop being ridiculous. You are only making a fool out of yourself. Ultimatum, my A. Everybody's laughing about you already. Get professional help and then get your stuff together. I think they ate her up. I think that was chef's kiss, best comment there is here. Okay. Someone else says, yes, you are. Leave them alone. The fact that she thinks he's still thinking about her is out of control for me. Out of control for me. So let's see what the Bree Hive has to say. I'm trying to find the last comment. So, where are we at? Okay, Doodle Noise saying, okay, this one might be the a-hole. Like, we've been pretty neutral. The OPs have not been the a-hole, but Doodle Noise is onto it, saying this one may be the a-hole. Adam says, good for him. Move on. Focus on yourself. They're so young. Like, focus on yourself. Phoenix Waller says, unless you put a label on it, 6 months is barely a situationship. It does sound like they did have a label on it, but even you're so young. Like, let it go. Move on. You screwed up. Leave that man alone. And I was like, oh man, it just got worse and worse as we kept reading. Kimmy says, OP is the a-hole big time. We didn't even get through the story when we made those decisions. Otto says, sis, he's just not that into you. It's like, it would be different if like he cheated on her, but like she cheated on him and she's like, oh yeah, he's still into me. He wants to get revenge on me 5 months later. It's like, no, this man moved on. He definitely moved on. Kimmy says, I just want to save her from being hurt. So I threaten her living situation if she doesn't do what I want. Exactly. You don't want her to get hurt. No, you don't want her to be with the man that you want back. Okay. Adam says, partially right. A says, she's so jealous and he's been over her. He's not even thinking about her. He got a whole new girlfriend and he's treating her right. He's not pressuring her into doing anything she doesn't want to do. He loves that girl. Okay. And you're like, oh, she fell in love with him. How dumb of her. Maybe she fell in love with him because he's in love with her. You know, people move on, especially of a little 6-month relationship. Yeah, I'm sure he moved on. Kimmy Locker says, the housemates are also a-holes for not setting her straight. I think that the housemates should say something, but it does sound like this OP is very entitled because her family owns the apartment and she pays rent to me. She pays rent to your family. Yeah, you probably just collect it and then you hand it over to mommy and daddy and then they pay the rent. So, or the mortgage or whatever it is. So yeah, she seems very uppity, thinking that she runs the world is what it sounds like. So the other housemates might just be a little scared, right? Phoenix Wallace says it's sketchy to go out with a friend's ex, but she gave permission. Permission given means OP is the a-hole. Exactly. I don't think I would even volunteer myself for that. But also, she ran it by the friend first, and then she was okay with it. And now that it's going better than OP thought, you can't then try to say, oh, well, you suck for wanting to date my ex, right? And he says she's gonna move in with her ex, LOL. That would be the best move. The friend should definitely move in with the ex. Okay. Doodle Noise says her relationship with my ex, or my a-holeness about her relationship with her boyfriend. Exactly. He doesn't belong to you. Like, you have no title to him anymore. The Aura H. White Hello and welcome. It says, "Oh, sweet summer child, this girl needs to go to therapy." Yes, that's what the comment said. The comment said the same thing. Get professional help. Absolutely. Anna says her friend probably didn't think it was a big deal since she didn't care enough about him to not sleep with other people. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, this is not a real to her. I'm like, to OP, was this even a real relationship to you before your friend got with him? It seems like she was still trying to chase him and be toxic and try to get him back after she cheated on him. I don't know. Maybe he's the one that got away for her, right? Doodle always says, "I love Redditor comments." Yeah, that one was extreme. Kimmy Lockett says, "Girl, your kitty ain't that good if you can't even control it." Right, right. Layla Wells, hello and welcome in. Nice to have you back tonight. Phoenix Wallace says she backs off now, and in a few years we get the "Am I a Bridezilla" post from the friend when she has to kick OP out of the wedding for making an "I had him first" speech. Exactly. The roommate, best friend, whatever you want to call her, needs to get rid of her. And to me, what it sounds like is that OP doesn't even really have a lot of friends, to where, okay, these people that are paying you rent, you're becoming their friends. And you're like, my best friend. And it doesn't really seem like your best friends. You just live together and she's maybe sucking up to you. I don't know. Okay. Mary Jane, really not Sarah, says, "Hey, I am late. That is okay. Welcome in. Nice to have you back. Let's check out the poll and see what the consensus are on this one." I think I know the answer. This girl needs to get a grip, okay? Get a grip. Am I the a-hole for giving my best friend an ultimatum regarding her relationship with my ex? And 100% of the votes, and I think this has been the most votes all live stream, 100% of the vote says yes, OP is the a-hole. So OP, sorry, you need to get professional help, like the commenter said. Okay, y'all, I got a couple more. But we're getting close to the hour mark. Let's see which one. We got 4 more. So maybe I'll do one more and then we'll do a vote like last time. But these ones don't give us a lot of detail. It's just like, am I the a-hole for giving my husband an ultimatum? Am I the a-hole for giving this person an ultimatum? Am I a-hole? So it might be hard to get through, to pick one. But let's go ahead and jump to the next one, I guess. We got another wife. Am I the a-hole ultimatum? Okay, this one has a lot of edits that I didn't read. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Am I the a-hole for giving my wife an ultimatum? My 34 male, wife 29 female, and I are going through a divorce. We have many issues, and as with most marriages, I assume it isn't just one that destroyed us. However, after deciding to split up, we recapped many things with each other in hopes to receive closure. She mentioned that she had had a lot of resentment towards me for an ultimatum I gave her shortly after we got married. When we were dating, my wife traveled abroad for several internships and work programs. She wanted to work in wildlife rehab, and jobs were hard to come by. It was very hard for me not to be with her for months at a time, and it nearly killed our relationship. Like a fool, I thought that being married would somehow fix this. Maybe I thought if we got married, she would want to settle down near home. I proposed to her while visiting her on spring break in Croatia. She was working on a dolphin research project there. We had never really discussed marriage, and we were both still in college. I felt stupid, but at the time, none of this seemed to be a big deal. She said yes and eventually came back to the States. We got married, and she did one more internship while I was in the fire academy. The internship was on an island a few hours away, so she had to move there for the whole 5 months I was in academy. When she came back, I told her the distance was too hard for me, and that I could never do it again. I never worded it as "you can either choose me or traveling," but I made it clear how hard it would be for our marriage if she didn't want to if she wanted to continue traveling for work. She agreed to stop and found work near home. Now we're divorcing. She says she resents me for making her choose and wishes she had continued traveling for work, because it's going to be hard for her to get back into that. So he says, Am I the a-hole? I think there's a lot we did wrong, but I wanted to be with her and I wanted to let her decide for herself if she wanted to be with me. But you kind of gave her an impossible decision to make. It's either you or her continuing to travel, or else you're going to kind of whine like a little baby. Like he's saying, oh, I didn't come out and say, oh, it's me or the travel. But it sounds like you making it clear, you guilt tripped her. That's what it sounds like to me. There are several edits. So let's see. We got edit 1 saying, not sure if it matters, but we were married 6 years before she told me this and did not originally protest when I told her how hard it was for her to be gone. Sir. Okay, 6 years. She waited to say something. Should she have said something earlier? Probably, but also you knew what you were doing. Like, let's not play this game. Edit 2. I also think it's important to mention that neither of us had careers at the time we got married. Because I'm seeing a lot of people saying she gave up her career, all the travels were unpaid volunteer work. She knew she'd eventually have to go back to school to get her master's to get her actual career in her field. I was the only one working and we were living with her father. Edit number 3. I'm also seeing a lot of people say that her passion was traveling and I took that away from her. Not sure if this matters, but we have traveled together a lot since getting married. We've been all over the world. I also love to travel. I just didn't want her to be gone by herself for 3 to 5 months at a time. Yeah, it wasn't about her being gone by herself. Like, let's be really honest. It wasn't about her being gone by herself, okay? It was that you wanted her with you. And she didn't want to be there. She wanted to be traveling and playing with dolphins and stuff. Okay. I also just found out, or edit number 4. I also just found out that she was planning on breaking up with me before we got engaged because the distance was so hard on me and she was annoyed with how needy I was. Why did she say yes? For a ring, girl? No. You should have said no. You were annoyed with him and you still said yes? But she didn't tell me that until we were getting a divorce. She should have said something. Final update. I appreciate all the comments. I apologize that I didn't have the time to respond to each of you. In the end, you are all right. Everyone sucks here. We both had strong feelings that this relationship would not work, and we forced it along for years. I didn't only propose to fix our problems. I obviously loved her very much. But I can see clearly now how insane it was to think that marriage on its own would make everything better without communication. I feel terrible that she gave up so much to be with me. I wish I could go back and undo all of this, but that's obviously impossible. I've told her this and apologized immensely. I made huge mistakes, but they were not malicious or aimed to intentionally deceive her. She accepted my apology and she said that she doesn't resent me. She resents herself for her own decision. We both still care about each other and want the best for one another. Things are amicable and we're on good terms as we work through paperwork. Thanks again for all the kind words and even the not so kind ones, because I know some people were chewing him up in the comments. Okay? Oh my gosh. So, is he the a-hole for giving his wife an ultimatum about traveling for work or being in a relationship with him, marrying him? He proposed to her to get her to stop traveling, which is insane. First comment, the long one, so let's get through it. I was first going to say not the a-hole, but ultimately decided but ultimately Bree, learn how to read. Okay. I was first going to say not the a-hole, but ultimately decided you're the a-hole. It's completely fine for you to want someone to be close by. It's a lifestyle choice for you. And the same is true for her. The thing that doesn't sit right with me is that it seems like you had always known that long distance would be hard and almost proposed to her as a way of ensuring she didn't leave. Basically, you raised the stakes for her to walk away from this. Once married, you flipped the narrative and made her make an impossible choice. That's what I said. It's an impossible choice. Be with me or leave. And if she would have left as you're proposing to, part of me wonders if he knew. I know I'm not finishing the comment, y'all, but part of me wonder if he knew that she was going to break up with him. So she's like, oh, I'm going to propose to her. That way she won't break up with me. And it worked. I feel like that's what happened. But y'all let me know. I think that's what's happening. Okay. Once married, you flipped the narrative and made her feel once married, you flipped the narrative and made her make an impossible choice, a choice that she could have made prior to getting married by breaking up with you unintentionally. So, yes, essentially used marriage as a way to control her career. You succeeded, albeit momentarily, but as with most things, you aren't free of consequences. The way I see it, you knew what needed to be done when you guys were young. You needed a talk with her and maybe walk away from the relationship, but you didn't. And now she has made the choice for you. And the reality of your actions is possibly a hard pill to swallow. I agree. And OP commented and said, I think you're totally right. I know what I was feeling and thinking at the time, and it all felt okay, but now it seems insane. I felt awful that she gave up so much to be with me. At the time, I just couldn't imagine losing her. I can see how selfish it was. Now, I think he knew. Like I said, I think he knew that she was going to break up with him. And then he was like, panic, propose. Who can say no to a nice shiny ring? Not her, apparently. Let's see what the Beehive has to say. If y'all haven't already, make sure you are voting on the poll and let me know your thoughts. Autumn said, oh, sounds spicy. Phoenix Wallace says, a ring isn't a relationship band-aid. He thought it was, and it worked for a while. Kimmy Locke says, it is wild to me that people propose without discussing marriage with their partner first. Yes, and these people were in college, so they probably shouldn't really have been a conversation for them at that time, honestly. Seems like she was exploring, seems like he was still deciding his career. This should not have happened. Kimmy Locker says to Phoenix Waller, apparently OP thinks rings are a leash. It worked for a little while. Kimmy says, I sincerely doubt that was the first time she expressed her feelings over the ultimatum. And like I said, I think he knew she was going to break up with him. So I wouldn't be surprised if she made the statement before, like, hey, you're making me feel bad for traveling, so I guess I'll just stay. And it doesn't sound like either one of them had really good communication skills, though. Mary Jane says, I think she's an adult that could decide if it was worth sacrificing her time. Exactly. She should have spoke up a little bit more. It says, most men would do this to most women, wing clippers, dream killers, jealous freaks. And I don't know why it works. Why does it work every time? Autumn says, I think they were too young to get married. Agreed. They didn't need to get married, but did it anyways. And I do see a lot of people getting engaged in college. I don't think that's the best time to do it, but I hear like stories of people saying they teach their daughters to, you go to college to get a ring, not a degree. And I'm like, what? Why is that a thing? I think she should have followed her passion. And if it was meant to be with him, he would have been there when she got back, right? Mary Jane says, everyone sucks here. I agree. Phoenix always says, yep, everybody sucks here. He couldn't handle a long distance relationship and put it on her, but she could have said no to the proposal or told him she wanted to go back to those projects. And that's what's hard too, because of her being so young. It was probably really hard for her to say no to someone down on their knee with a shiny ring, right? Oh, that's when they said people get cold feet because they're not really sure if they should be doing this, right? A says, I don't think everyone sucks here because it seems like he was meeting her where she was at first, like he proposed while she was out traveling, like he was okay with it. That is also, if that was a trick, that could be something that's at play here too. I didn't think about that. The Oral H. White says, sounds like instead of getting married, they should have both just used their words. They may have ended up being friends. Exactly. They needed to communicate, and it doesn't sound like they have any communication. She didn't express that he made her feel like he was giving her an ultimatum, and he didn't express that, hey, if you want to travel, I don't want to, interrupt your path. I want you just to be with me. So I'm going to trick you into marriage. Like, they needed to communicate these things, right? Kimmy says to A, I get what you're saying, but if he was so needy and annoying that she was going to break up with him, then she knew he wasn't really okay with it. That too. Yeah, I forgot about that. She said she was going to break up with him because he was needy and annoying, and you kept that to yourself for more than 6 years? Yeah, y'all should have went to couples counseling or something. Kimmy says to the Aurora, couldn't agree more. The Aurora H. White says, I think you are right about the proposal being used to stop the breakup. I kind of feel like he knew. Phoenix Wallace says it's fine to not be able to handle a long distance relationship, but it's unfair to put that on the person who is gone working, etc. Don't tie down a wanderer. Yep, and it ended how it needed to end. They were not compatible. They weren't compatible. Kimmy, A says to Kimmy, that's her looking back at his actions. Probably seemed loving because that's how he presented himself. That is also true. We don't know what she was feeling before, but she did say she was going to break up with him. So I kind of feel like she did have some sense of him being annoying. He sounds annoying, okay? Oh, I don't like you being away. No, I can understand. I'm probably a clingy person, but the way it comes off, it sounds like he was whining. And he's the one telling his own story, and I still feel like he was whining. Phoenix Wallace says there are plenty of people that make it work. Military spouses, people working on offshore oil rigs. I'm sure there are researchers in Antarctica who are married and not seen each other in 6 months. Exactly. He didn't want to do that, though. He controlled the situation. A says it works because women are taught to fight and sacrifice for relationships. That's a good point. That is a good point. It always works. We know what they're doing, but it always works. Mary Jane says, Phoenix, that's because there's an abiding live and probably more independent people or love. Okay, that makes sense. There's an abiding love and probably more independent people. The Aurora H. White says, I have questions about how he proposed. Some proposals are hard to say no to. That's what I want to know. Who's saying no to a man down on his knees with a shiny ring and roses and all the things that you ever wanted on top of a dolphin's nose? I don't know. I don't know what he did, right? It might have been hard. Kimmy says to A, maybe, but I think ultimately they were both just young, inexperienced with serious relationships and themselves and the world, and didn't have the proper tools like healthy communication. I can agree with that. Autumn says, I got engaged my last year of college, but I had been there an extra 2 years, so I wasn't that young, LOL. We just spent a little bit of time discovering your education and yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? But it's like we have these preconceived timelines of when they're supposed to do things exactly. I don't know how many young girls says, I'm going to be married by the age of 25. No, you're not. No, you're not. I said that. It's like, I'm going to be married by 25, and then I'm going to wait to have kids until I'm 28, and then I don't know what was after that, but that didn't happen. It didn't happen at all, okay? And I'm happy it didn't, honestly. I'm happy it didn't. I met my husband at 25, but I wasn't married, okay? That's when I met him. Phoenix Wallace says to Mary Jane, exactly. But they know that's the lifestyle and accept it. Like, don't chase people you're fundamentally incompatible with. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking it is. It's a compatibility issue. She wants to live abroad. He wants to live at home and wants someone staying at home and making him meals when he comes back from firefighting. I don't know. It doesn't sound like they were compatible. A says, Kimmy, they were both young, but he was lying and hiding who he was and what he wanted. He had bad intentions. I think he manipulated a little bit here. Mary Jane says, Phoenix, yeah. Kimmy says, fair enough to A. A says, sorry, this story is triggering even in OP's POV. That's what I said. Even in his POV, he sounds bad. I don't know. Sounds like he's whining. Lizzie, the real one, says, hey, I just subbed. Well, welcome to the Bree Hive. Nice to have you in. A says, real one to Lizzie. Exactly. Welcome in. Welcome in. We are happy to have you here. Kimmy Lockett says, yay, welcome to the Bree Hive. And then Lizzie says, I am new here. Be nice, please. I got a cold. No problem. No problem. Everyone gives their opinion here. No one's mean. The Bree Hive is all good vibes. All good vibes. We just be buzzing by, okay? Mary Jane says the Rachel plan. I don't know if I know what that means. I'm tired of reading, y'all. It's only been an hour, and I'm tired of reading. That one was tough to get through. Everyone had like deep opinions about this one. So I appreciate all of y'all. I appreciate all of y'all for all the deep opinions on that one. So let's go ahead and jump into the poll saying, am I the a-hole for giving my wife an ultimatum, telling her it's travel or me, right? 38% said yes, OP is the a-hole, okay? You're the next a-hole in the lineup, okay? And then we got 12% saying no, nobody is an a-hole here. Could have just been that they were young and inexperienced and shouldn't have been doing what they were doing, like getting married. And then we got 50% saying, yes, everyone is an a-hole. So basically, everyone sucks here. I think I'm going to lean towards everyone sucks here. It seems like neither one of them was really displaying their true intention. But I definitely think that OP had a little bit more manipulation going on in the story versus the wife, okay? Mary Jane says, Rachel started planning on when to get married before having babies. Who's Rachel, though? I don't know who Rachel is. Phoenix Sola says, if you're tired of reading, then the hour is up. Yeah. I think I'm going to do one more, which we have 3 more stories left. So we're kind of in the same predicament as we were last time. And I know Kimmy has to go soon, so I don't want to keep her too long. So we got 3 more stories left. And the options are, drumroll please, am I the a-hole for giving my husband an ultimatum? Which it doesn't really give us anything. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he's the one who gave me the ultimatum, so he needs to deal with the consequences? Okay, that one's a little bit different. This is a child to a parent. And then am I the a-hole for pretty much giving my wife an ultimatum, which is similar to ones that we've already done. I'm almost leaning towards the middle one because it is a child talking to a parent. So I'm gonna pick that one. We're not gonna do a poll because we don't have time for that. Let's go ahead and do the am I the a-hole for telling my dad he's the one who gave me the ultimatum, so he needs to deal with the consequences. I think I'm just gonna read this one on Reddit because it seems pretty spaced out, and I don't want to scroll and try to find it on the Word doc. So here we go. Let's mark our spot. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he's the one who gave me the ultimatum, so he needs to deal with the consequences? I remember this one. This one is a little unhinged, okay? So my mom died. Was I just like slobbering? I know I just drank water, but what was that? Okay. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he's the one who gave me the ultimatum, so he needs to deal with the consequences? My mom died when I was 17. Oh, sorry. My mom died when I, 17 male, was 5. My dad remarried when I was 8 and made a blended family with his wife and her 2 kids. Then they had 2 kids together, so I have step and half siblings. So it sounds like there's about 5 of them all together now. My mom's family were a big part of my life for the first 6 years, and then my dad and them fought because my dad had met his wife by then, and he didn't like their reaction to the news. Essentially, he wanted to invite them over for my grandparents' yearly family barbecue, and my grandparents didn't want to include them. They told him they couldn't accept my mom's replacement. Like, how hurtful could that be? It's like, yes, I still want to see my grandson, but I don't want to see you loving another woman. I don't know if that's reasonable to put on to people. You know, but also it's like, yeah, you can move on with your wife, but I don't want to see her. I feel like the grandparents are in their right for saying that, you know, maybe the lady kind of looks like their daughter and it reminds them of the love he shared with a daughter. I don't know. So he got mad at them for feeling that's what he was doing. And he told them they could forget about, excuse me. He got mad at them for feeling that's what he was doing. And he told them they could forget about seeing either of us again. He tried to keep me from them, but they filed for grandparents' rights and dad's lawyer said they'd win. So he said I could see them once every 3 months for 4 hours. It was way less than I was used to, but it didn't stop me from being close to them. And I have to applaud the grandparents for still making sure that they have a close relationship with their grandson, although their daughter passed away. He invited them to his wedding and they didn't come. The grandparents are so savage. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Savage. He invited them to his wedding and they didn't come. It pissed him off more, and then he got super weird about it, and he suddenly started demanding invites again for his wife's kids when I was invited, and then when my half siblings were born, he was including them in the attempts to force my family's hand. So he's asking his ex-wives or his deceased ex-wife, her parents, to watch 5 kids and only one of them are they related to. That's ridiculous. No, you're not going to impede on my grandson's special time with us. That's wrong. Okay, so they tried to force their hands, but they never invited them. They did ask me if I wanted them there, and I said not really. So at least they gave the OP a saying, like, do you want your siblings here? He's like, no, I need a break. Okay. So they didn't change their mind. My dad always complained about them whenever my visits would come around. He really hated that I went and my step and half siblings couldn't. He tried to tell me I should advocate for them all to be included. I never replied to him because it was easier not to. So OP doesn't even want the siblings there. The grandparents sound like they would have included the siblings if OP actually wanted them there, but OP didn't. Once I turned 14, it got worse with the stuff. And once I turned 14, he got worse with that stuff. And he complained that I was calling and texting them and that I kept in touch more than the once every 3 months. He'd tell me that they hate my siblings, that he didn't want us to have our family, or that they didn't want us to have our family. I told him that didn't upset me or make me mad, and it didn't change that I wanted to see them. So he's basically trying to guilt trip his son into not wanting to see his maternal grandparents. The day I went back to school senior year, my dad told me since I was graduated in May and I'd be 18, he needed to make it clear that I will need to choose because I can't keep spending time with people who refuse to include most of my family. And he told me I'll have to choose my family or them. I told him them were my family and I choose them. He didn't expect that answer. He got pissed and told me I should always choose siblings over extended family. Well, the other kids aren't even related to him. Those are just his step siblings. So he's not even related to them. So he can definitely choose his grandparents over them. And then the half siblings that you're trying to impose on him, like, could you not understand why your son doesn't want anything to do with your new family that you're building? You're basically trying to replace the family that he had before. Then he acted like I had given Then he acted like I hadn't given my answer because he told me when he and his wife throw me the graduation party, they won't be allowed to invite my mom's side. They won't invite the mom's side. I told him he didn't need to throw me one because they would, and I made it clear my choice will be them. Dad told me that isn't how it works. I told him it is because he gave me an ultimatum and he needs to live with the consequences. He accused me of twisting his words and disrespecting him by throwing that in his face. So, am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole? Dad, I think dad messed up and kid is calling his bluff. Kid sounds like he's tired of his dad, okay? Let's see what the comments say. So we have the first comment, not the a-hole. You are in no way wrong. This is how an ultimatum works. He knows that. 1, your father had no right to try to replace your family. 2, father had no right to try to insert his children and stepchildren into the lives of people that were holding on to the last living representative of their deceased daughter. 3, your father had no right to try to separate you from people that love you. 4, you lost a parent that will forever be in your heart. Your father should have respected that. And 5, lean on your mom's family as they love you. Your father is in love with a fantasy. It sounds like the father just tried to replace the family for the son. And maybe the father didn't really grieve as much as he needed to grieve before kind of starting this new relationship with this new woman and building this new family. That's what it feels like to me. Someone else says this sums up this. I can't read no more. This sums it up perfectly. Next comment says, not the a-hole. I agree with all of this, but I'd add that it's kind of messed up how the grandparents initially reacted to dad getting married as a replacement. It was 3 years after the death, and while it might sting, it's messed up to get mad at him. If other family members invited to barbecues and such were allowed to bring significant others, it's weird that he wasn't. He didn't react well to it at all and should not have put OP in the middle. But again, it's weird that they expected OP's dad to be celibate after his wife died. When my half-brother died, my dad, we shared a dad, fully expected and wanted his daughter-in-law to marry again one day. She doesn't want to, but that's her choice. I don't think grandparents needed to invite step and half siblings along to things that OP was invited to. But if before meeting his new wife, OP's dad was invited to things, I could see where he'd be upset and hurt that when after 3 years he couldn't bring his new partner. And I agree with that too. It doesn't seem like the grandparents really took it well, but it's also their house. Like, I don't really know where to go with that. I don't really know what to go with that, because I can definitely understand why they are saying, hey, they should have included the new spouse. But also, like, he's not their son. So I don't know. Let's see what the Bree Hive has to say about it. Let's see. Where are we at? Oh, for Friends. I was like, who's Rachel? Rachel's from Friends. Thanks. I completely forgot. Make sure y'all are voting in the chat and let me know what y'all think. So voting in the poll. Autumn says from Friends. Got it. Yes. yes. Okay. Let's see. I didn't really watch Friends, so I probably still can't relate, y'all. Sorry. Phoenix Waller says, oh, dad, faithful. What does faithful mean? I don't know. Mary Jane says Brie, LOL. I don't know what I did. It's always, I don't know what I do on camera after a while. Like I said, I leave this up so that my kids will be embarrassed of me on the internet. And Kimmy let me know that faithful means F around and find out. Okay. I feel like y'all tell me that all the time and I always forget every time. I forget all the time. Okay. Here we go. So dad effed around and find out. Yes, he did. He did. They don't have to accept her, but like also, are they being weird and petty? Yes. I feel like over time they could have repaired the relationship, but the fact that dad started being like, well, I'm going to stand my ground and I'm going to keep the only thing that you have related to you from your daughter, the only living, breathing thing, I'm going to keep that away from you. That's when I think they came to a point of no return. Adam says, you can't expect him to be alone forever. Agreed. Mary Jane says, OMG. Adam says, how could you expect them to come to the wedding though? Like, they won't even invite that lady to their barbecue. Why do you think they're going to come to your wedding, right? Kimmy Locker says, OP's dad wants free childcare and needs to get over himself. Like, yeah, how do you expect someone who's trying to pick up one kid to take 4 additional children? All 4 of the additional children, they're not even related to, and their grandkid doesn't even want the 4 children there. Like, no, you can't. Don't force these kids on these people. I kind of feel like OP's dad wanted to still be accepted by the mom's family, which I understand. But also, it's like, you can't be a dick and expect them to still want you around. That's bad. Phoenix Waller says, dad wants the grandparents to babysit for him for free, even though only OP is the bio grandchild. Yep, agreed. Adam says his kids aren't their grandkids. Exactly. They're not even related to them. Like, why do you want to send your kids with these other grandparents? I'm sure they're great grandparents, but geez, maybe send them with their actual grandparents. That might be helpful. Adam says he has half siblings too, but the half siblings are from dad's side. He's related to these people from mom's side, so they're still not related to these grandparents. Mary Jane says everyone sucks here. The grandparents aren't perfect either. I agree for sure. And they're hurting, but also no one's reacting like adults here. No one is, okay? Kimmy Locker says to Mary Jane, interesting, how do you figure? I think the grandparents messed up with being like, she can't come to the barbecue, which is fine. But also just be like, oh, well, we don't want to stand to see her replacement. And it almost made it to like, they would never accept her. And it's not like they're even he's not even their kid. So it sounds like maybe dad and grandparents had a good relationship and they basically tore that relationship up once their daughter died, which again, people grieve differently. So maybe they all needed to go to like some type of family therapy to get through the grief of losing the wife, right? The Aurora H. White says, OP seems like he's more mature than his dad. Good grandparents. Dad needs a reality check. I agree. Like I said, I feel like dad didn't actually grieve losing his wife, which sucks. Phoenix Waller says, I wonder how much dad's stepmom tried to erase his bio mind from his life besides trying to alienate his grandparents. And that's what also comes up. because dad seems like to me trying to just replace the old life that he had, which is not a healthy way to grieve, right? You have to actually go through your feelings. Autumn said grandparents shouldn't have distance because he moved on, but the father's other kids aren't their grandkids. Exactly. And I think where he was really hurt was not wanting him to bring his new partner to the family barbecue. But I think had he not reacted like that initially, once he started having kids with her, then they would have accepted them and the kids all together. But once dad started being a dick and lawsuits had to start being filed, I think there was no repairing that relationship after that. Mary Jane says, Kimmy, if the grandparents are against his new wife, I just think that's how family acts if they're loving. That is also true. Like I said, they were not done grieving their daughter yet. Mary Jane says, I can understand the motives, but they all sound kind of dysfunctional. Yes. Did I read that one wrong? That's not how family acts. My bad. I did read that one wrong. Not how family acts. And that's what I said. You would think that the grandparents would be mature enough to still let the stepmom come, but maybe they also knew that the kid didn't like the stepmom, or that they were trying to erase their daughter. And maybe that also plays a role. Or maybe the stepmom looks exactly like their daughter and they feel like he was literally trying to replace her. I can understand it from that point, but they don't really give us details on why they called him a replacement or not. Phoenix Waller saying F around to find out. Thank you very much. I'm gonna forget it again. I know I am. Mary Jane says you're drooling thing free. I don't know what happened. I think I was drooling. Sorry. Give me like I figured that was what you were talking about, but I didn't want to bring it back up. Kimmy Lockett says to Autumn and Mary Jane, I get what you're saying, but grief is tricky. They shouldn't have expected him to be alone forever, but they aren't obligated to accept them as a family. That is also true. And like I said, I wonder how much replacement were they trying to do, or was he trying to do? I feel like he probably was like, oh yeah, wife's gone, new hoe. Didn't mean to say that on live stream. New girl, bring her in, right? Autumn says they're not obligated to have her and the new fam over, but it's a lot to be like she's a replacement for their daughter. And I kind of feel like maybe OP's dad was doing something to make them feel like that, like their daughter didn't really matter, right? Mary Jane says, Kimmy, no, they're not, but I just think it's not a family thing to do. I have a non-blood uncle who has been there for me since I was 8, but my blood uncles weren't ever. And that could be a thing too. I think their situation is a little tricky just because that extra element of grief and them losing their daughter, and then there being a new wife, and then the new wife being forced on them, right? Kimmy says, it's a lot, but I also get it. They lost their daughter and the new wife is filling that role now. I can only imagine how painful it is seeing them have the family/life she didn't get to have. That is true. That's tough. So let's see what the overall vote was of whether OP is the a-hole. I'm sorry, y'all. I read that really bad. I was tripping over my words. My mouth is like tired of talking. Okay. I had court today. I was talking in court. I'm talking here. So let's go ahead and see what the ultimate verdict is. In the Beehive, we have, am I the a-hole for telling my dad to deal with the consequences of his ultimatum? We got 0% saying yes, OP is the a-hole. Yeah, I don't blame the kid at all. The kid is like, y'all adults, figure it out. 86% says no, someone else is the a-hole. I think the grandparents play a little role, and I think that the biggest role is the dad, though. 0% says no, no one's an a-hole, and 14% says yes, everyone is the a-hole. Definitely. I'm there. I think the adults mess things up here, but I don't blame OP. Remember, OP is just 17 years old, okay? And he is almost being the most mature about it. It's like, don't try to threaten me with my family. Like, yes, I love my siblings. I can make my own relationship with them when I want to, but you're not going to force me to get rid of my grandparents. The only people that probably even teach him about his mom. And that's what makes me think that maybe dad just kind of completely tried to erase mom, because that does happen in some relationships and some families. When they lose the other spouse, they try to erase them and then replace them with someone else. Autumn says counseling for everyone. Agreed. Agreed. Justin, if you welcome in, saying just popping in to say hi. Been watching from my TV, so I couldn't chat. No problem. We're happy to have you here. Happy to see you. We are done, y'all. We had 2 more stories, but they were probably going to be pretty repetitive of the ones we've already read, and maybe we'll push them on to a different live stream. That's all we have for today. I am getting closer and closer to having my solid schedule at work, so I should be able to get a more consistent schedule for streaming. But I'd be tired, y'all. I'd be so tired. I can barely even speak on live stream, but I'll let y'all know. We will get back into lawsuits and stuff. It's just a matter of time of when. I am still trying to post shorts on some lawsuits that are coming out, but that is also hard to do. That is also hard to do. So I will let y'all know if when more things change in the schedule. Right now, we're going to be keeping it at Thursday around 6:30, 7 o'clock. And again, I will let y'all know if anything changes. I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining me live, and I will see y'all all on the next live stream. Bye.